Yo guys, Coach Theo here on Common Sense. Back from a little break of posting longer videos to YouTube, I had to sort of rest and reflect a little bit on where I want to take things in the future with Uncommon Sense, and it's starting to fall into place now. I just came back from a vacation in Greece that started out terribly in the sense that it's in the place I was. It was literally the worst rain they'd had in over 10 years. And it was very metaphorical for some other stuff going down, but it ended extremely well. Sunshine, both literally and metaphorically. And here we are now. And so today I want to come clean about my natural status and physique. I have to admit that anyone that thinks that someone with my level of development from a bodybuilding perspective has to be on steroids is a loser or just incredibly misinformed. If I am to give myself the most generous numbers I can come up with, you know, I'm 177 centimeters tall. I could weigh, let's say 84 kilos, let's say 10% body fat, you know. Is that seemingly so fucking impossible, you know? Compare that to the elite of the elite bodybuilders that compete and definitely are enhanced, right? I'm not sure but what someone at my height and stuff would weigh in competitive form, but we're talking like 10 kilos of lean muscle plus more, which, you know, looking the way I do, slapping on 10 kilos of pure muscle on the entire frame would be like insane. Just adding 1 kilo makes a difference, you know, gives everything more detail now. So just imagine that. And, you know, Uncommon Sense is the name of my channel. I started it when I had started training and working on myself. There's a reason, like my Instagram is called Uncommon Sense Fitness, literally mainly because Uncommon Sense was taken. And, you know, I prefer to not have to put a bunch of like numbers and shit in the handle. And of course, fitness is, you know, training is a part of what I do, even though it's more holistic. But Uncommon Sense Fitness, naming it like that, it could be bigger than just fitness. This is Uncommon Sense Fitness, like where we, you know, kind of redefine the word fitness to include more things in there, right? Point being is that, yeah, every once in a while I can talk about pure facts of training, like this is how I think is the best way to train this, or a good program for someone at this level, or something like that, right? But I'm always going to have this bigger perspective, and let me go into it like this. I know what I'm going to call this video. I'm going to be trolling about my natty status, right? And then something about making great gains through willpower, right? You know, we can talk all day long about how much volume do you need, you know, frequency, how close to failure do you have to train, what form is best, does it matter to train in the lengthened position, you know, stretched position, focusing on this and that, and you know, all these things, they do matter, but none of them alone matter a lot, you know. It's the entirety of what you do, and if like something that comes before all of these things, we're talking about how many sets, what split, what program, and so on, right? There are certain things that come before that, and sometimes I'm like, am I just a fucking genius that I see these things and I feel like no one ever talks about in any meaningful way? Is this fucking robotic modern society of 2025 when everything is of the mind, intellectual, like we have to quantify everything, like how many sets, how many exercises, everything like that, which again, it's not that it doesn't matter at all, but just seeing how poorly most people are doing when it comes to fitness, right? Seeing how much people, you know, looking at comment sections under different fitness, bodybuilding videos, right? Talking about this and that, oh, this exercise, I feel it like this, oh, when I started doing this, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, why? Because clearly, if you just look around, people are, like even the shape I was in after 1 year of training, that was like 1% shape when you look at the entirety of the population, you know. Why are people so into talking about these fucking details as if they were fucking pros, you know? Because all these little details, they matter. Let's put it this way. The more advanced you become in anything, the more you have to go beyond the fundamental principles and start like really fine-tuning what you do. But it's still these things that come before them that are at the core of what matters to, in this case, build a very impressive physique, right? And I feel like most people have just not gotten that at all before getting into all of this, like optimal training and shit that you just should not be concerned about whatsoever, honestly. Most people have no business thinking about what's optimal. Your business should be thinking about, how do I make gains? How do I ensure that I am making gains? And how do I keep making it happen? Keep making it happen, okay? And this is what I mean by making gains through willpower. You know, someone that, like for instance, would accuse someone like me of being a fake natty. And guys, by the way, you have to understand that I do not give a shit, right? Of course, I don't like it. I don't like that someone would spread lies about me. That's not a nice thing to do. But if I remove completely that I am a coach that wants to influence people, and I have a YouTube channel where I want to reach out with a message, remove this. I'm not on YouTube. I don't care to make anyone else make gains, help them. What the fuck would I care if someone thinks I'm on steroids, right? It's just like, okay, that's just, yeah, it's a compliment, like people say then. So just don't misunderstand why I bring this up. I'm making points, okay? That someone that like has to find all the arguments and reasons why I have cheated to get to where I am, right? I'm lying about it. They don't want to make gains, right? That they don't want to. They would have the excuses like, oh, my genetics, or this guy, I cannot reach what he's doing because he's cheating. So I'll focus on that to justify me not wanting to put in the work, right? I don't want to make gains. I would just like to have them. I want to have the gains. I don't want to make them. This is what I mean making gains through willpower. Understand that if you truly, really want to make gains and you take responsibility for the outcomes that you get, for the results that you get or don't get, you know, if you want it so badly and you're ready to observe yourself and see where you can improve and keep adjusting until you do it, you see, if you want it, if you will it, you can will it into reality, your gains, okay? So I'll tell you that when I started, this is what I mean with that we can further optimize things, but do not fucking even think about that until you understand what truly matters for making gains and being honest with yourself. Am I doing this? Am I trying to escape the work by focusing on shit that I really have no business focusing on? Well, what I want to come to is that you don't have to do literally anything like optimally, even if we agree that there is some kind of objective optimal way to do a thing. It's going to take a long time before you have to do anything optimally. There are certain things that just have to be in place. So let me tell you about what my process looked like. You know, when I started training, some things I understood is that I'm going to have to keep doing this now. Consistency, right? I'm actually going to have to, I looked ahead and be like, this is going to have to be part of my life now. The kinds of goals that I have now, I realized that it's not something I can do every once in a while or just do for a while and then it's gone, you know, as if it was like, you know, collecting leaves in, do you see that pile over there? Okay, now the pile of leaves is just there, you know. No, it's not, you have to change forever, right? And I understood that I have to push myself, I have to try to beat, if there's a particular exercise, for instance, in whatever way, I have to try to do more than I have done previously, because that makes sense to me. You know, that why would my body adapt if I just do the same thing? I'm just kind of telling my body that, oh, we're doing this thing that we've done that's kind of tough. So we're keeping the ability to do that. But if I want to improve, of course I have to do more, right? And that's why I come back to always consistency. If you just take down, it has to be at least a program that makes sense somehow, right? If you have at least a decent training program, now consistency and trying to push beyond where you've been before in terms of reps or weight most of the time, right? That's really all that matters to begin with. Like, in the beginning, there was the word. I was thinking about this before, according to this video, that, yeah, we can talk about these concepts, like how many sets and, you know, what would be the ideal split for me and so on. But there's something that comes before that, the fact that we have muscles that can grow, that even is something that can happen, you know. Understanding the fundamental thing there, that, yeah, the muscle, it has a function and it has to be pushed beyond where it has been. And then there are some things that you have to sleep and eat well enough for the adaptation then after that to happen, right? So with whatever I did, my little push-ups, my negative pull-ups, the little isolation exercise I started doing at home, you know, nothing was ideal about my form, for instance. Still though, inevitably, if you do a push-up, even if you do them with poor form, somehow you're going to use your chest, shoulders and triceps. And maybe if you do them with poor enough form, you don't hit your chest as well as you could, and it's more shoulder and triceps, or whatever you see. Somehow you have to make gains, right? And so this is what I did. And then looking to, for instance, my physique after 2 years of training, when I've been in the gym, and I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing, still, looking at any clip of my training back then, my form is just worse, okay? I could improve my form to get more out of the exercise, and more specifically, exactly what I want to get out of that exercise, right? Still though, I was consistent, I was ruthless, I had the will. I have the will to face that maybe there's something I could do better, right? So, there comes a point when you've done enough gains where you might have to start looking at the little things that, this exercise that for most people seems to target, like just if they just do this exercise without thinking too much about exactly how, they're just gonna hit this particular muscle. Oh, with my anatomy, it seems that I have to either adjust the form in a certain way, or there's just a better option for me in particular to do this, to grow this particular muscle, you know. Let's say arms for me, biceps, it's like, what should grow my biceps? Some of the things have just been more like forearm, brachioradialis, than what it like should be for most people, right? And then I just have to face that I can make progress on these exercises, but not so much happens with my biceps. Clearly I have to kind of look around, play around with frequency and stuff, try exercises that I wouldn't be my first go-to, and doing enough of this, yeah, I have started to grow my biceps a bit more again, you see. It's like, you know, the last thing, this is what another thing I was thinking about before recording a video, about plateaus. You know, I hear a lot of coaches and content creators, even that I like, you know, talk about like plateaus as something like inevitable, you know. And of course, in a sense, yeah, I don't see anyone literally making progress every single workout that they do. But me personally, I've never hit any plateau in any meaningful sort of way, you know, because I've always adjusted before then. This is what I mean with the will to make gains, that if let's say you are consistent now, you've gotten far enough, you're someone that's like intermediate or something, you know, you are consistent, you have a decent program, you pushed yourself hard, and you came to a certain point, but there can always come a point where what you've been doing, what has been creating progress for you up until this point, just doesn't anymore, you know. But the thing is then, I mean, to me, it's just like, I get confused even hearing like, well, okay, but if you were making gains and you're not anymore, like, why don't you just fucking change stuff until you do it again? Like, even you don't even have to know exactly what to change, just change something, you know. That's what it always been like for me. If, you know, there are certain exercises that I know I will plateau, as in, if I start a bulk after a period of cutting and or maintaining, which would be after the summer most of the time, you know, if I would do something like a bench press, I can expect when I start eating more and pushing that I will make progress on the bench, but there's gonna come a point where, yeah, I just cannot, in the progression scheme that I've had, it's just not gonna work. And I will just not do, you know, 3 workouts in a row, let's say, a bench press, and I just don't beat my previous rep best. Well, I will not just stick with the exercise now. I will either change the form, like, oh, I'll actually change to a close grip bench, or if I was doing touch and go reps, I'll switch to pass reps. Maybe I'll even take out the bench press altogether and like, oh, I'm gonna do a dip or something, or I'm gonna do a dumbbell press as a main exercise, or whatever, right? And then I'm gonna start progressing that exercise, and that at some point when I come back to this bench press, or if because I changed the form, started doing pass reps or whatever, now I'm gonna make progress again. It's like, yeah, I don't understand this talk about plateaus as something that just happens, and it's like this big secret you have to. This is this is what just goes now. There are new rules for you now because you have reached the intermediate stage or something. Like, there's some of that, but do you see my point? That if you have this mindset of that, well, I want to make gains so badly that I will observe if it happens by keeping your logbook, for instance, seeing how my training goes. And if something just, even though I, you know, seemingly do everything right, I am sleeping well, I am eating well, I am consistent, I try to push myself hard, I try to beat my previous best, and it just doesn't happen on an exercise a few times in a row, then it's like, okay, well, fucking change something, right? Like, do people just accept that, oh, I just stopped making gains on this exercise, but I just keep doing it? I just go hit the same numbers. Like, well, if you really want to make gains, fucking change something. Just something that makes sense. Maybe the first change you do that didn't even work. Try the next thing then. You know, I could, if I stood there and paused and thought, I could find so many times where it's been like that. Yeah, well, okay, I plateaued, as in what had been working stopped for a little while. And maybe the first thing I went to didn't quite do it for me. But at some point it's like, yeah, I found a way forward again. It's like, yeah. So yeah, guys, this is what I bring to the table when it comes to the fitness and bodybuilding stuff. Again, I can every once in a while go into talking about the actual technicalities of things. But it's like, I want you to understand, like how someone like me has made almost completely linear progress throughout this entire time. Even way before having all the like actual theoretical knowledge and knowing my body very well. And this, just because of this mindset, you know. Okay, I have to be, if I want to be the person that gets this jacked, clearly this is a lifestyle change. I have to change and keep doing something differently forever. Going to the gym and training, right? I have to push myself beyond where I've been before. And when I do everything right, technically, but it just stops working at this moment in time, I'm like, okay, what can I do now? What can I change? How can I adapt so that I make the gain train go again? All right. I'll leave this video here. Guys, I'm inspired now, rejuvenated. I have lots of fun ideas coming up. So we'll end this one here. Please like and comment. All comments and likes help support the channel, so it's very much appreciated. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching, getting jacked and stacked mentally, physically, spiritually, working ourselves, body, mind, and soul. Becoming that person just fucking that gets it done, okay? Do you know that also? That when you have this approach, you're gonna find out all of this, like what volume works for me. That could also be a thing. What intensity works for me. Exactly how hard do I have to train? How often? You know, when you keep playing around with the variables, you're gonna, the proof is in the pudding, as in, you see the outcome of what you do. If it is progress, yeah, great, that's good, it's working, you know. Fuck what's optimal, honestly. Progress happening. It doesn't matter if it could happen faster then. If it happens, that's all that matters, because then you will come to the point where you want to be at some point in time, right? I have my training book, everything training, philosophy, mindset related you need in order to become a self-reliant, jacked and stacked individual. I have the Consistent King course. The kind of is focused on this. There is a training program, there is a nutrition plan that is, you know, adjustable to you personally. But the course is very much built to kind of make you into this individual that just fucking gets it done in this sort of way, okay? Yes, guys, please subscribe for more content about fitness, fast losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, soul system, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is mindset, guys. Just fucking get it done, okay? Peace.